Mining training packages. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and today I just want to have a quick chat about the difference between a formal qualification and a training package. Now, with Hard Rock Underground, because all the training is done on site and the employers have to be able to prove that they've trained everybody that they employ to the satisfaction of a court of law, there's not that many formal qualifications around that you can do. So training packages like this have been written in the past. Now, this is specifically for Hard Rock Underground, and I just want to go down to the truck course, which is part of their DIY package, and just click on that, and it'll open it up. And it'll give us an idea of what you're going to learn in this training package and why it is a training package opposed to a formal qualification. Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't realise about Hard Rock Underground trucks is that not all of them have got dicky seats in them. A lot of the brands like Sandvik, there's only one seat in there. There's not a second seat behind that a trainer can sit in. So for a number of years in the early 2000s, I worked on mines where this was the only truck that we had because it was so reliable. That's all that they wanted to buy, and so there was no actual way of putting somebody in a truck and training them with them. This was what was rolled out to people if they were lucky. So it's how the actual truck works. If you come down, operating the truck, steering the articulated truck. So it goes into great detail about how the truck steers like a snake. You've got to point it in the direction that you want it to go, and then you've got to straighten it. The tyres don't actually move. It's this centre hitch that does all the steering. So when you turn the wheel up here, it's back here that actually turns. So that means that you've got to have a little bit of a different type of driving technique, which this goes into in great detail. So it talks about the different focus points that you use when you're turning, how far you've got to stay off the wall, and just goes into great detail about how you can drive the truck and where you've got to position the truck in the decline and how it's all going to work. And if you can know all that going in, that's a huge advantage, because at the time they're trying to fill you with all this information and teach you to drive the truck at the same time. Goes into the position of the truck, turning the truck, reversing the truck, so it teaches you how to reverse the truck without a reverse camera. Even teaches you how to reverse the truck around the blind side without a reverse camera. So it goes into great detail about how all that works. The other thing that it does is it goes into what happens when you actually get down there and you've got to get a load. So it goes into step by step what you have to do, the horn signals. It's got some video there, and it shows you what you should be thinking about when you're going on your way down. Talks about loading bays, how you've got to be in the right loading bay for it all to work. It's all about getting in and out as quickly as you can. The longer that you spend in the loading bay getting a load, the more time you burn, the less trucks everybody's going to get, the worse it's going to be for everybody. By the time you get pointed out or that you're not loading that fast, they're already looking at you, unfortunately. So the more you can know before you go about the traps that you're going to have when you're getting a load, like being too far away from the loading bay, not being in the loading bay, that's all going to give you a huge advantage over everybody else that's going for a job, and it's going to help you survive those first 6 months, which is what you have to do if you're going to make a mining career. And it just goes into all the detail about how the actual driving up and down the decline, what you've got to do when you get to the bogger operator to let them know that you're ready for a load, dumping your load, where you're going to put it, how you're going to mark it off, what happens if you make a mistake, what happens if you dump the load in the wrong spot, all that information, all this goes into. And it's the same with the other courses. It goes into great detail about exactly the information that you've got to know to be a Hard Rock Underground miner. It's written by the same people that wrote all the on-site training back in the day, and it's there to give you an advantage over everybody else when you're starting, because unfortunately with Hard Rock Underground there's lots of jobs around, there's also lots of turnover. So the more that you know before you go, the better off you're going to be. I hope everybody understands that, and I suppose the easiest way to describe the difference between a training package and a formal qualification, as a training package, this thing's $450 and it teaches you everything that you need to know. If this was a Cert 3 in underground mining, then this would be $6,500, and it would take you probably 6 months to complete it. Whereas with this, you can bowl it over in a weekend, but I always tell people to go through it 3 or 4 times, so it takes about 50 hours to get through. You can really get yourself into a position where you're ready to go within a couple of weeks if you really apply yourself. So I hope you found that information helpful, and the difference between a formal qualification and a mining training package. If you go down the route of trying to get a formal qualification, then just be aware that a lot of places can't use them. That's mainly for oil and gas and coal in Queensland, those surface extraction Cert 3s, that's what they're used for. Everybody else in hard rock, all the employers have to be able to prove that they've trained everybody on site, so that's why it's all on-site ticketing and procedures and training packages, not formal qualifications. If you could share that information around and like and subscribe the channel. Thanks.